Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, imagine the terror, the confusion, and the shock of two innocent lives being violently taken in the dark of night. Picture the pain and heartbreak of a mother whose children will never see their mother again, and a father who will never get to watch his son grow into the man he could have been. Now imagine a man who had every opportunity to walk away from violence and abuse, but instead chose to end the two lives in the most brutal way imaginable. That man is OJ Simpson, and throughout this trial we will prove that he is responsible for the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. What you're about to hear is a case that will test your ability to sift through the truth and decide what is right. We are here to seek justice for the tragic deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Goldman. On June 12, 1994, these two innocent people were murdered outside of Nicole's home in Brentwood, California. The man who stands before you today, OJ Simpson, was a former football player, star, actor, and public figure who once basked in the glow of fame, but on that night he became something far darker. Evidence will show that OJ Simpson, the man who had a history of abusive behavior toward his ex-wife, is the one who took her life, along with Ronald Goldman's. In this case, the evidence is clear, compelling, and undeniable. We will show you the timeline of the events leading up to the murders, the physical evidence that links Simpson to the crime, and the testimonies of those who were close to the victims. We will demonstrate that Simpson's actions that night were deliberate and calculated. This case is not just about facts. It's about justice for two lives taken too soon. It's about the suffering of a mother and father who will never see their daughter again, and the pain of a family who lost their son, and the deep scars left in the wake of these murders. This is a case about holding someone accountable for the harm they have done and how it's impossible for anybody else to have done it. Our theory is simple. O.J. Simpson murdered Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman on June 12, 1994. The evidence will show that O.J. Simpson, in a fit of jealousy, anger, and entitlement, hunted down his ex-wife and murdered her in cold blood. Goldman, who happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, was also brutally killed in the process. The evidence we will present will include the following: timeline and DNA evidence. We have a clear and established timeline. O.J. Simpson's movements on the night of the murders can be traced through witness testimony, his alibi, and physical evidence. He was at the crime scene, and the blood evidence will show that he left behind droplets of his own blood. Blood drops found at the scene and in Simpson's car, on his driveway, and on his clothes link him directly to the crime scene. DNA tests confirm that the blood is a match to Nicole and Ronald, as well as Simpson's own. Witness statements and testimonies. Several key witnesses will testify that Simpson had a violent history with his ex-wife. He stalked her, threatened her, and showed little remorse for the pain that he caused. We will hear from people who have seen him angry and controlling. These witnesses will testify that O.J. Simpson had both the motive and the means to commit these murders. You will also hear about the glove at the scene, which matches one of the gloves recovered from Simpson's property. Also, Nicole's 911 call in the months prior to her death paints a chilling picture of a woman living in fear, constantly harassed by Simpson. This, along with her documented history of abuse, gives us the motive for why Simpson would kill. The prosecution will also show that Simpson had the physical capability and the opportunity to carry out these murders. The defense will undoubtedly try to convince you that this evidence is all circumstantial and that O.J. Simpson was framed. They will argue about the possibility of tainted evidence or police corruption, but we ask you to consider this. No one, not a single person, has been able to prove that any of the evidence was planted. You will hear about the police mistakes, but these are nothing more than small procedural errors that do not change the fact that in Simpson's blood, DNA, and prints are at the crime scene. The defense may also bring up the theory that someone else was responsible for the murders, but they will fail to offer any credible evidence or plausible alternative suspects. They may try to distract you with the idea that Simpson's history as a beloved celebrity played a role in his acquittal, but that has nothing to do with the truth. What matters is the evidence, and the evidence overwhelmingly points to O.J. Simpson as a murderer. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case speaks for itself. O.J. Simpson murdered Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. There is no other reasonable explanation. We will present the facts, the witnesses, and the physical evidence to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt. This case is about seeking justice for two lives cut short by senseless violence. It's about holding O.J. Simpson accountable for his actions, and it's about sending a clear message that no one is above the law, not even a former football star. At the end of this trial, we will ask you to do the right thing. We will ask you to return the verdict of guilty, because that is the only just and fair decision in this light of evidence. Thank you.